Peoples of the worldwide federated internet. What's good? So, y'all know the past couple days I've mentioned something about the tech media censorship. You might still be of the opinion that this doesn't matter. Why do you keep talking about this? Why is this a thing? I'm going to start with a story and then I'm going to tell you something that I saw yesterday across social media. Most of you might be familiar with the Dark Ages. You might not be. The Dark Ages were a dark time in human history, referred to as the Dark Ages because learning, academia, knowledge was sparse. Many things contributed to the Dark Ages. This was after the fall of the Roman Empire. One of the things that transpired during the Roman Empire is Rome built roads across its empire. And these roads were one of the things that allowed knowledge to spread. You have to think, if a farmer in one area didn't know something or didn't know how to maximize his crop, there might have been a farmer in another area that knew how to do it. That information traveled on the road. Somebody knew this farmer, saw what this farmer did, got on a road, spread that information. That information then in turn got to other people. This is what happened during the Roman Empire. It was really a modern marvel, the roads that Rome built across the world. Now, for some of you who might be listening who are woke, I know we could get into the discussion, Rome stole this technology from this and from that. We're not getting into that. Bottom line is Rome built roads. That's the bottom line. Information spread across these roads, across the globe. It spread very quickly. There was much learning going on, and there was a lot of knowledge because of how quickly this information spread. It was information sharing the likes of which hadn't been seen by that point, which makes it easier to do things. You see, if someone 400 miles away from me has already figured something out that I'm struggling with, I don't have to reinvent the wheel. I have access to that information. This is one of the reasons why the burning of the Library of Alexandria, who knows how much information we lost when that happened. That's another very interesting story to look into if you ever care to. So anyway, Roman Empire, the roads. One of the things that happened after the fall of the Roman Empire is those roads were not kept up with, right? You got to remember, Rome was spread abroad. They had centuries and troops everywhere. Things were protected. And people traveled on these roads and they felt safe. Well, during the fall of the Roman Empire, these roads were no longer protected and they were no longer kept up with. There were marauders, thieves, murderers along these roads. People traveled less. So information didn't go far. And there was a planet-wide depletion of knowledge, not in every area, but in the known world, let's put it that way, air quotes. At that time, there was a mass depletion of knowledge. That was one of the biggest contributors of the fall or the dark ages. Those roads, the information highways were not kept up with. Illiteracy was a big, huge contributor to the dark ages. Again, information was not spread. So yesterday, why'd I say that? I'm gonna read for you. Let me open my phone here. Something that was pointed out yesterday. So if you go to my Instagram page, I posted a photo. So on a photo, I saw this mention. So I decided to do some fact checking, see if this was true. So I put in a random hashtag on Instagram. I put in the word chicken. Random hashtag. When I put that word in, for those of you who use Instagram a lot, you know, when you put a hashtag in, sometimes there's a little note under it, and there's a note under this hashtag. And this is with every hashtag you put in. I tried multiple hashtags. It says, recent posts from all hashtags are temporarily hidden to help prevent the spread of possible false information and harmful content related to the election. So Facebook, which owns Instagram, is so, air quotes, concerned with false information being spread that they nuked their own hashtag feature. For those of you who don't know how hashtags work, is whatever you're interested in, whatever you like, these hashtags, they all go into this algorithm, and that allows you to discover things that might be of interest to you, right? So I could put in a hashtag, let's say I put in a hashtag Bible study. They're my daily Bible videos. Then someone who follows a lot of Bible pages, who's into a lot of things concerning Christianity, my videos might show up in one of their feeds, right? Because this is something that's interesting in them. That hashtag allows your video to go farther. These technocrat overlords are tampering with information. The internet is the information highway. The different roads on this information highway, the major roads, are social media: Google, Facebook, Twitter. These are the biggest highways. Information is going back and forth. Now I know some people might hear this and be like, this is a stretch. You can't really compare this to the Dark Ages. No, you can't really. But what happens when it does get to that point? Because the roads are not kept up with. They're not protected. Or you see, if these social media companies have the power to cut off information, they have the power to control people. One of the things that spread and was very rampant during the Dark Ages was different areas and sections of the world being controlled, dominated by tyrants. Now, I'm not saying merely having access to information eliminates tyrants, but it's a very good way to start that elimination. During slavery, slaves of all things, I want you to think about this, they were forbidden to read. Let that sink in. One of the things that the slave masters feared the worst was the slaves having access to information. One of the hottest commodities on earth is information. You might not realize that. You might not even think that's true. You might disagree. But I'm telling you, this is a thing. If these companies, and again, I know I've been saying this over and over again, and the reason I'm pointing these stories out, you can do it yourself. Go on Instagram, go to the search feature, type in a hashtag. Why are these companies so afraid of information being spread? So afraid that in order to quote unquote air quotes protect you from air quotes false information, they nuke their entire hashtag feature so nothing can spread organically. That's, I don't even know what to say about that. That's insane. That's nuts. Again, I know some people might look at this and might say, not a really big deal. I'm telling you, if these companies, I'm going to keep warning, if these companies are allowed to control information at this level, the dark ages we're headed for is a dark age of thought. You see, access to information allows you to expand the scope of your thoughts. Now, social media is not the only place we can get information. We still have newspapers and books, right? Yeah, let's think about that. Most of your book companies, I want you to look into who owns most major publishers. How easy would it be for them to cut off certain books? So at some point eliminate certain books. Most people are reading mostly digitally these days anyway. That's why I buy physical books whenever possible. I like having physical books. Because what happens when they scrub all of the books you love from social media? You don't think it's possible? Yeah, well, I happen to think it is very possible. I think most people are getting their books from Amazon, who's owned by none other than Mr. Jeff Bezos, who has a certain line of thought. What happens when he decides not to ship certain books anymore? That sounds extreme, right? But if I would go back 50 years and tell you that a company, a social media company, started and ran by a U.S. citizen, owned and operated out of the United States, would censor the president of the United States, but would not censor the Ayatollah of Iran, you thought I was crazy, but yet it's a thing. Sometimes things that seem so far-fetched are a lot closer than you think if you're not paying attention. How does the mirrors on cars say things may appear closer than they actually are? The image you have of the world might not be what you think. And a lot of these things that seem far-fetched might be a lot closer than you think. We need to pay attention. Y'all know what it is. Stay frosty, people.